Ever since Momoshiki implanted Boruto with his karma seal, the question has been how? How was Momoshiki able to seal his essence within Boruto after being destroyed and with no physical contact? And by physical I mean while existing in the physical realm, not in a spiritual form as shown in episode 65 of Boruto. Now initially we all assumed that this was the true function of karma since this was our first introduction to the ability. Maybe the Otsutsuki doesn't need to be alive to choose and implant karma on a selected host. However, this notion was later contradicted in chapter 53 when Ishiki's soul was extinguished after failing to implant karma on the real Kawaki through physical contact. The same with Urashiki after being destroyed by Boruto and Kid Naruto. If it's that the Otsutsuki can just implant karma pre or post the death, why didn't Ishiki implant karma on Kawaki in his spiritual form? Why didn't Urashiki do the same to Boruto, Naruto, Jiraiya, or Sasuke? If you go by that analysis, our initial conclusion on how the karma works can't and doesn't hold up. So what key detail are we missing? The obvious answer is the Jougan, and it has been there the entire time. You see, the Jougan itself is an unknown entity. What it does and how it does it hasn't been fully revealed as yet, but we do have some information we can work with. When it comes to appearances, the Jougan is depicted as light blue in color with a darkened sclera, at least in the anime. And with that description, the first thing that comes to mind is the Edo Tensei, or summoning impure world reincarnation jutsu created by Tobirama Senju, which basically allowed the caster to bind the soul of a deceased person to a living vessel. A key thing to note here is that this jutsu is only able to summon souls that reside in the Pure Lands, which is a place where the souls of earthly beings generally reside in death. So if we assume that there's only one afterlife in the universe of Naruto for all beings, it's likely that this was where Momoshiki's soul went after he was destroyed by Boruto. To further back up this theory, we can see that the environment in which Momoshiki implanted Boruto with his karma seal was not the same environment in which the fight took place. It's as if Boruto and Momoshiki teleported to another dimension, an astral dimension. In this dimension, we can only see a reddish atmosphere with a black swirling pit beneath Momoshiki and Boruto. However, this is only the anime because in the manga they're still in the same dimension where they fought, so there's some difference between the anime continuity and the manga continuity, but the manga also didn't feature the Jougan, so it's kind of a non-factor. What you could say is that they're the same continuity but the anime just expounds on the manga, which you could go with that explanation, or you could just say it's two separate continuity. It doesn't really matter, this is just a theory based on what happened in the anime. So in essence, I believe that this entire scenario took place due to the Jougan's ability to interact with the spiritual realm, or the Pure Lands as you know it, which is very interesting since the Jougan itself translates to pure eye, so at face value you can also see why people would make that connection. However, at a deeper level, this does also still make sense since the sequence only took place after the Jougan was activated and started to pulsate with energy. We even zoomed into the Jougan, which then brought us to the next scene with Boruto in this unknown dimension, again with the Jougan pulsating. Momoshiki then asks Boruto if he could sense his presence as if he should not have been able to, which he then deduced that it was due to Boruto strongly inheriting the power of the Otsutsuki after noticing Boruto's Jougan. One thing to note here is that the Pure Lands is just a dimension just like any other. The only difference is that only the dead can travel to this dimension as this is their destination after death. However, the Jougan has shown the ability to see through and travel to other dimensions on multiple occasions. We first saw this during the academy when Sumire attacked the village using Nue. Boruto accidentally activated his Jougan and teleported him and his friends to the Nue dimension. Not only that, later on in that same episode, Boruto was able to see into the original dimension and also hear what Shikada and the others were saying while he was still in the Nue dimension. Very reminiscent of Ada's Senringan ability, which basically allows her to see and hear current and past events regardless of dimensional barriers. And we know that Ada got her Senringan powers after being implanted with Shibai cells by Amado. So this of course leads into the theory that Boruto also got some of Shibai cells through Taneri, which is why he's able to manifest the Jougan, and also why his horn while in the Otsutsuki-fied state looks similar to Shibai's rather than Momoshiki's. I made a video on this back in October, so you guys can go check it out if you need the full details on that. However, in regards to this theory, we can also see that Boruto could see into Urashiki's pocket dimensions and could tell where he would emerge from using the power of the Jougan. So with all this evidence, we can conclude that the Jougan has the ability to see through dimensions, travel to other dimensions, and also interact with the spiritual realm, which is likely a higher dimension not accessible by regular space-time ninjutsu. This of course leads into the why. Why would the Jougan deliberately force Boruto to interact with Momoshiki in the spiritual realm and allow Momoshiki to implant Boruto with his karma seal. Because as we deduced earlier, implanting karma post-death and without physical contact in the realm of the living should not be possible, or else Ishiki would have done so to Kawaki and the same for Urashiki. So either this is a plot hole or it isn't, and if you go by the latter option, the only distinguishing factor between these three events is the Jougan. So it wouldn't be wrong to assume that the Jougan was the culprit. Now this does bring into question whether this happened accidentally or intentionally. It's possible that the Jougan acted on its own to assure Boruto's fate, or it happened due to Boruto meeting some unknown requirements similar to Ada and Omnipotence. This also brings up something very interesting. In chapter 64, when Boruto first used his true essence form, Code upon seeing this power initially thought it was Momoshiki in control, which is why it then stated that Boruto is quite a puzzle. Momoshiki's consciousness, why does it emerge to this degree when you are still only a vessel? Of course, it was later revealed that Boruto was still in control of his body, he was just manifesting more of Momoshiki's power. But what Code initially said does imply that something is off with Boruto. Momoshiki should not be able to manifest in this way according to Code, which means this information was likely relayed to Code by Amado, who knows a lot about the karma. It could be that Amado was lying or he just didn't know, because at this point in time, his only example of this was Kawaki and Code with Ishiki's karma. However, a key difference there is that Ishiki was still alive while Momoshiki wasn't. So you could logically argue that Ishiki never manifested within Kawaki like this before because his soul was already linked to his own body. Or you could just put on the tinfoil hat and say that Code's conclusion was true even though he likely lacked the information to make that conclusion. And if you do decide to go with Code's conclusion, it's likely that Boruto's Jougan, or him just strongly inheriting the power and the blood of the Otsutsuki, makes it easier for him to resonate with Momoshiki, thus creating a deeper connection. This was also referenced in the recent chapter of Boruto, with Momoshiki and Boruto's consciousness kind of fusing into one, with Boruto being able to hear what Momoshiki is actively thinking and saying, and also vice versa with Boruto. All in all, the point of this video is to point out that while we may see the Jougan as the means to solving Boruto's troubles, it might just be the reason why he has those troubles in the first place. So whether we want to kinda link that back to Kagemasa, who had the evil eye, we could say that the Jougan isn't purely good, even though it's called the pure eye. I mean, the eye itself does descend directly from the Otsutsuki, who don't seem to be very nice people. Although this is just like a select view, I don't want to judge the entire race. Maybe they are good Otsutsukis. I mean, Kaguya was technically good until she turned evil, but maybe she was bad before then turned good. So anyways, it's kind of convoluted, but we'll see how that plays out, because Kaguya's backstory is technically filler, but they might incorporate some of the backstory into the Boruto manga, which is why I really want to see like some information on Kaguya, maybe a full-on backstory in the manga itself. That way no one can say it's like filler, you know, so I think that will be really good. But all in all, this is that for this theory. My next Boruto video will be on the true origins of Code's karma seal, which is the white karma, which I'm sure you guys will find interesting. So remember to drop a like, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you guys can be the first to know when that video drops. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.